Zeus, protector, protect us with care. From the subtle sand of the Nile Delta, our ship set sail. And we deserted from a holy precinct bordering Syria. We fled into exile, condemned not for murder by a city's decree, but by self-imposed banishment, abhorring impious marriage with Aegyptus' sons. Danaus, father, adviser, and lord, setting the counters of hope, picked the smallest pawn of grief, quickly flying through the sea, and find anchor at Argos, whence we boast to descend by the breathing caress of Zeus on a cow driven wild. With a suppliant olive branch, to what kinder land could we turn? Whose city, whose earth and bright water, Olympian gods, ancient gods below possessing the tomb, and Zeus our saviour, keeper of pious men, receive, respectful, the air of this land, these suppliant maidens well, but that thick swarm of insolent men, before ever landing in this swamp waste, return them and their ship to the sea, and by the winter sting of a hurricane, facing the wild sea, thunder and lightning, by rain winds may they die, before appropriating what the law forbids cousins to lie on unwilling beds. Now I invoke the calf of Zeus avenger beyond the sea, a child from grazing cow, held by the breath of Zeus, born with a fateful name, Epiphus caress. 1. Him I invoke, in pastures where our mother suffered before. I'll show a witness faithful but unexpected to natives here. They shall know the truth at last and at length. And if some neighbour here knows bird cries, hearing our bitter passion, he will think he hears the hawk-chased sad bird Metis, the wife of Tereus, who weeps with passion barred from rivers and the countryside, who sang a child's death dirge, whom she killed, perverse her wrath. Thus melancholy I with Ionian songs eat my Nile soft cheek. My heart is unused to tears. We gather blooms of sorrow, anxious if a friend someone will protect us, exiles from a misty land. But gods ancestral here behold justice kindly. Truly hating pride grant nothing undecreed, so just you'd be to marriage. Even war has havens, a bulwark for the weary exile, a respect of gods. May his will, if it's Zeus's, be well. His will not be easily traced. Everywhere it gleams, even in blackness, with a black fortune to man. And so certain it falls without slips, by the sign of Zeus fulfilled. Dark are the devices of his counsel, his ways blind to our sight. From towered hopes he casts men as destructive, no violence he armours, all providence is effortless, throned, holy and motionless, his will is accomplished. On mortal pride look down, how it waxes and flourishes by marriage remorselessly, intent in its frenzy, spur inescapable, deceived to destruction. I sing suffering, shrieking, shrill and sad and weeping. My life is dirges and rich in lamentations, my honour weeping. I invoke your Apian land, you know my foreign tongue. Often I tear my Sidonian veils. We grant God's oblations where all is splendid and death is absent. O toils undecipherable, where led these billows? I invoke your Apian land. You know my foreign tongue, often I tear my Sidonian veils. The linen-bound ship, secure from the sea, with fair winds brought me, nor do I blame. My Father, be timely, omniscient, perfect, a gracious end, that seeds mighty of solemn mother escape, a woe unwed, virgin to the bed of man. Daughter of Zeus pure may she behold, who guards walls sacred, willing my will. May virgins, rescuing virgins, in all her power come, that seeds mighty of solemn mother escape, alas, unwed, virgin to the bed of man. But if not, a sunburnt race shall go beseeching to Zeus of the dead, gracious to strangers. Hanging ourselves if gods Olympian heed not, O Zeus, sought out by the gods by snake-hate of Io. I know Hera's madness conquering all. Winter comes with sharp winds. Then Zeus in injustice hates his son begotten, and that is unjust. Face now averted away from my prayers, but would that Zeus hearken. O Zeus, sought out by the gods by snake-hate of Io, I know Hera's madness conquering all. Winter comes with sharp winds.
Prudence, my daughters. Prudently you came with an aged father as your trusted pilot, and now with foresight I advise your taking care to seal my words within your mind. I see dust, the silent clarion of arms, but not in silence are the axles turned. Crowds I see, armed with shields and spears, followed by horses and curved chariots. Perhaps the princes of this land have come to meet us informed by messenger, but whether kindly purposed or provoked to savageness, They speed their armament. Here it is best to act the suppliant. This rock, this altar of assembled gods, stronger than ramparts, a shield impenetrable. Now quickly prepare white suppliant wreaths, sign of Zeus sacred held in the left hand. Mournful, respectful. Answer needfully the strangers. Tell distinctly of an exile unstained by murder. Let nothing bold attend your voice, and nothing vain come forth in glance but modesty and reverence. Not talkative, nor yet a laggard in speech. Either would offend them. Remember to yield. You are an exile, a needy stranger, and rashness never suits the weaker.
With prudence, Father, you speak to the prudent. I shall keep a watch on your discreet commands. May Zeus, my ancestor, look on us.
May he look then with a propitious eye.
Now would I wish to be near your side.
Delay not.
O Zeus, compassion ere we die.
If Zeus is willing, this will end well. And now that bird of Zeus invoke.
Preserving rays of the sun we call.
Call on Apollo, the god who from heaven once fled.
So knowing this fate, may he have compassion?
Let him be compassionate and defend us with care.
What other gods must I invoke?
Do you see this trident? This is a god's symbol.
Who brought us here well, may he receive us now well.
And that is another Hermes, a Greek custom.
Oh, may he be a good herald to those who are free.
All gods here at a common altar worship. Settle on the sacred ground like doves clustering together, fearing the winged hawks who hatefully pollute their very blood. Bird consumes bird, how could it be pure? How, unwilling brides, myself unwilling, could they be pure? Who not even in hell, where another Zeus among the dead, they say, works out their final punishment, can flee their guilt and lust. Fix your eye on that. In answer, that victory be with you well.
Whence come these barbarians? What shall we call you, so outlandishly arrayed in the barbaric luxury of robes and crowns, and not in Argive fashion, nor in Greek? But at this I wonder, how without a herald, without a guide, without patron, you have yet dared to come, without trembling. The suppliant olive branch before these gods you've placed, it is custom, but Greece no more than that will guess. In other things I could conjecture only, unless your voice will guide.
You did not lie about our dress, but to whom do I speak? An Argive citizen or a herald with his sacred staff, or the city's head?
Answer me with trust. I am Pelasgus, founder of this land, and son of Pelechthon earthborn. Pelasgians bear my royal name and reap the fruits of this earth. I rule the lands in which the pure Strymon turns, where the sun sinks in the west and limits the Perebe beyond the Pindus near the Paeoni and the mountain Dodona. Oceans bound my rule, I lord it over all within that frame. It is called Appia, after a surgeon of ancient times, the prophet Apis, son to Apollo, who from Naupactus once did come, and cleanse this land of deadly monstrous serpents that the earth soaked in old curses of blood had sprung and smeared in wrath. His remedies and herbs did work a cure for Argos, where his pays remembrance found in litanies. There are my testaments, and now you must tell your own ancestry. The city, though, is impatient with long speeches.
Brief and clear is my tale. By race we claim Argos, the offspring of a fruitful cow. I'll tell you how close truth clings to it.
You speak beyond my credence, strangers claiming Argive birth. More like Libyans you seem than like to women native here. Or the Nile may foster such a likeness, or the images of Cyprus carved by native craftsmen, and of the camelback nomads I've heard, neighbors to the Ethiopian. I should have thought you were the unwed barbarous Amazons. Were you armed with bows? But once instructed, I should more fully know how your birth and ancestry is Argive.
Wasn't Io once in Argos charged with Hera's temple?
Io was. The tale is prevalent.
And wasn't Zeus to a mortal?
Which was from Hera unconcealed.
How end these royal jealousies?
A goddess changed a woman to a cow.
And Zeus, did he approach the horned cow?
Zeus became a bull, they say.
How then did Hera answer?
She placed on her a god, all-seeing.
Who?
Argos, a son of Earth, whom Hermes slew.
But what did Hera appoint for ill-omened Io?
A gnat-like goad it was, or driving sting.
That the Nile dwellers called the gadfly?
That drove her from Argos.
It confirms my tale.
And so to Cannabis and to Memphis she came.
Where Zeus by touch begot a son.
Who claims to be the calf of Zeus?
Epiphus, truly named Caress.
And who from him?
Libya, reaping the greatest name?
And then?
Belus of 2 sons, my father's father.
Tell me his name.
Danaus, whose brother fathered 50 sons.
Disclose his name ungrudgingly.
Aegyptus, now knowing my ancient lineage, might you succor an Argive band.
You seem to share of old this land, but how did you bring yourself to leave your father's home? What fortune did swoop upon you?
Lord Pelasgus, shifting are the ills of men, nowhere is trouble seen of the same wing, who wished for this unexpected flight, to land at Argos, formerly natives here, cowering in hate of the marriage bed.
Why have you come to these assembled gods? Why do you hold the fresh white olive branch?
To be no household slave to Aegyptus' sons.
By hatred or by law?
Who buys a master from kin?
So greater grows the strength of mortals.
To desert those distressed is easy.
How with piety could I act?
Deny the demand of Aegyptus' sons.
But hard's your demand to wage a new war.
But justice protects her allies.
If only she shared from the start.
Respect the ship of state thus crowned.
I shudder before these shaded altars.
Yet hard is the wrath of Zeus, the protector. Son of Pelasgus, listen to me with a caring heart, Lord of Pelasgians. Protector, behold an exile surrounded. A calf, wolf pursued on steep rocks, confides in the herdsman's strength and bleats her pains.
I see this crowd of gods assenting, each shadowed by the fresh-cut olive branch. Yet may this friendship conceal no doom, nor strife for us arise in unexpected and unpremeditated ways.
Daughter of Zeus, master of lots, may behold a flight, innocent, Themis, and thou from the younger, ancient in wisdom, learn, respecting the suppliant, a holy man.
You are not suppliants at my own hearth. If the city stains the commonweal, in common let the people work a cure. But I would make no promises until I share with all the citizens.
You are, yes, the city, the people, a prince is not judged, the land, the hearth, the altar you rule with the single vote and scepter. Enthroned you command, and fill every need, of pollution be watchful.
Pollution on my enemies. Without harm I cannot aid you. Nor is it sensible to despise these your earnest prayers. I am at a loss and fearful is my heart, to act or not to act and choose success.
Regard him above, the protector, a watchdog of men distressed who sit at neighboring hearths, but obtain no lawful justice. Yet anger of Zeus, the suppliant remains, who is charmed by no pity.
If Aegyptus' sons rule you by customs native to your city, claiming nearest of kin, who would wish in that to oppose them? According to laws at home you must plead, how over you they lack authority.
Yet subject to men would I never be. I plot my course under the stars and escape from a heartless marriage. Take as an ally justice, choose the side of the gods.
The choice is not easy. Choose me not as judge. I said before that never would I act alone apart from the people, though I am ruler. So never may people say, if evil comes, respecting aliens the city you destroyed.
Both sides he surveys, of related blood Zeus is, impartial his scales. To the evil and lawful weighs out the holy and unjust fairly. Why fear to act justly?
We need profound preserving care that plunges like a diver deep in troubled seas, keen and unblurred his eye, to make the end without disaster for us and for the city, that neither strife may bring reprisals, nor, if we should give you back, seated thus on seats of gods, we settle the god destructive Alastor in this land, who even in Hades never frees the dead. Seem we not to need preserving counsel?
Take care and be justly the pious protector. Exile betray not exile, pursued by cast out by the godless. See me not seized, from seat of gods to be seized. O Lord with full power, know the pride of men, beware of God's anger. Bear not to see a suppliant by force, led from these statues, seized by my garments like a horse by the bridle. Do what you will, thy house remains to pay, find in thy children. Justice is equal, mark the justice of Zeus.
I have pondered, and here I'm run aground. Gainst you or them, necessity is strained for mighty war, as fastly drawn as ships held by the windlass. Yet anchorage is never free from pain. When wealth is sacked and homes are pillaged, Zeus yet another fortune may bestow. Or when the tongue has failed, a healing word may spread a counterbalm. But if consanguine blood is to stay unshed, we must sacrifice to slaughter many kind to many gods, a cure of grief. I am spent by this dispute. I wish in ignorance more than art of ill. Against my judgment may it turn out well.
But hear the end of my reverent prayers. Clasps and belts and bands I have.
They are doubtless proper for women.
Here, are fine devices, unless you promise statues with new tablets to adorn. From these, gods to hang.
A whip to the heart.
Now you understand, for eyes I gave you.
Alas, everywhere I'm gripped in strangleholds, and like a swollen river evils flood, embarked on a sea of doom, uncrossed, abysmal, nowhere is anchorage. If I leave this debt unpaid, you've warned of pollution that shall strike unerringly. But if I stand before these walls and bring the battle to the very end against Aegyptus' sons, wouldn't that become a bitter waste? Men to bleed the earth for women's sake? But yet the wrath of Zeus the suppliant, the height of mortal fear, must be respected. Now then, aged father of these maidens, gather those wreaths in your arms, and at other altars of the native gods replace them. Then no one of the native people who delight in blame by seeing proof of your arrival could reproach me, and pity they may feel for you and hate those men's arrogance. May the people be gracious. Everyone to those weaker than themselves is kind.
To have found a stranger, reverent and kind, we highly prize. And now let native guides, to grant me safety as I go, escort me to the temple altars. Nature made my shape unlike to yours, even as the Nile and the Inachus bear no resemblance in their nurture. Beware lest rashness burgeon into fear. Ignorance has often killed a friend.
Attend. The stranger speaks well. Guide him to the civil altars, the seats of gods, and say no more than this to whom you meet. To the god's hearth we bring a sailor.
Him you instructed, and he is gone, but I, how shall I act? What sign of confidence is it yours to give me? And here I leave them by your command. But how would a public grove protect me?
Never to rape of birds shall we expose you.
But to them more hateful than heartless snakes.
Propitiated, speak auspiciously.
You know how fear does fret impatiently.
Excessive fear is always powerless.
Soothe then my heart in word and deed.
Your father will not long desert you. And I, assembling all the native people, shall make the commons well disposed and teach your father all that he must say. Now remain here and beseech the native gods with your prayers to bring what you desire. I shall go arranging all. May persuasion and fortune attend me.
Lord of lords most blessed, most perfect strength of blessed, happy Zeus obey, and let it be. Remove the pride of men, pride well hated, and cast in a purpled sea the black-benched doom. Look upon our race, ancient of ancestor loved, changed to a happy tale, favouring us. Remember many things you touched Io. We claim a descent from Zeus and birth from this land. To my mother's ancient track I turned. In a rich pasture eating flowers she was seen, whence Io by gadfly rage distraught escaped. Passing many races, cutting in two the land, the raging strait defined. Through lands of Asia fast she went, and across Phrygia grazing sheep, and the city of Teuthras passing, and Lydian vales, Cilician hills, race Pamphylian, hurried through ever-flowing streams, and land of Aphrodite. She came by dart distressed, of a cowherd winged to rich groves of Zeus, a pasture fed by snow and attacked by Typhon's rage, the Nile waters by disease untouched, herself crazed with grief, stinging pains, bacchant of Hera, and men who then lived there at her strangeness trembled, with pale fear at heart, beheld a creature vexed, half-breed, in part a cow, and woman in turn a monster marvelled at, who then charmed the wretch wandering far furious Io. Equal sign of endless sovereignty, Lord Zeus charmed, by strength gentle of Zeus, and divine breaths was she cured, weeping her grievous shame, bearing the burden of Zeus. Told without falsehood she bore a blameless child, through great time blessed, all earth shouts, of Zeus fruitful in truth this race, who else would cure her of sly diseases of Hera? There is the working of Zeus, here is Epiphus' race, of both the truth is spoken. Whom beside him more justly would I call, Father our gardener, worker and lord, a craftsman aged in wisdom, propitious the wind is of Zeus. Stronger none rule, beneath no one enthroned, Seated above, he respects none below. His deeds are quick as words, he hastens what counsel decrees.
Take heart, my children, well are cast the people's final vote.
O hail, my envoy, my dearest herald. Tell us what end's been authorized, and where the populace, by show of hands, has thrown its weight.
The Argives have decreed not doubtfully so as to change my aging heart to youth again. So bristled thick the air with hands, resolving thus the law. Free we are to settle here, subject neither to seizure nor reprisal, claimed neither by citizen nor foreigner. But if they turn to force, whoever rich in lands refuses succour shall be stripped of offices and banished publicly. The king persuaded, prophesying Zeus the suppliant would fatten rich his wrath to feed insatiate suffering, and show itself as twin defilements in and outside the city. Hearing this, the Argives, not even summoned, voted all. They heard and easily were convinced by supple rhetoric, but Zeus still crowned the end.
Come then, let us offer for the Argives good prayers, a return for good things. And may Zeus stranger behold from the mouth of a stranger offerings in true frankness, a perfect end for all things. And now, Zeus-born gods, might you hear our prayers, when libations we pour, never slain by fire this Pelasgian land, never wanton war found a danceless cry, harvesting mortals in a changed harvest. For compassion they showed us, and voted with kindness, respecting Zeus's suppliants, this wretched flock of sheep. Nor cast they their votes on the side of men by dishonouring us, watching Zeus avenger, like a spy he sees, who is hard to fight, who desires his home stained in its rafters, for he heavily presses. The suppliants of Zeus' sacred related blood they respected. Then to gods shall they be pleasing with altars scoured clean. So out of shadowed lips let fly honourable prayers. Never a plague empty the city, strife never bleed with native dead the land. Flower of youth may it ripen unplucked, and partner of Aphrodite, war may he cut not their bloom. And laden altars welcoming set them ablaze. Well would be ruled cities respecting Zeus above all, who guides by ancient law. Other protectors we pray to be born for always, and Hecate Artemis birth by women protect. Let no murderous plague come upon the city destroying. Without the dance, without lute, father of tears ours arming, and the intestine wars shout. May the bitter swarms of ill far from the people sit. May the Lycian Apollo to all the youth be kind. And may Zeus to perfection bring the fruit of each season, and many young in the fields pasturing cattle beget. May they obtain from gods all. May the pious songs be sung at altars by minstrels. May the lyre-loving voices from holy lips arise. May the people who strengthen the city protect its dignity well, whose rules providential in common council, and before arming Ares, to strangers without grief may they grant justice. May the gods who possess the city be honoured by citizens well with sacrificial laurel ancestral. For respect of one's parents is third among laws written by justice.
Thank you, dear children, for these modest prayers, but from your father tremble not to hear new intelligence. From this outpost, protector of suppliants, I spy that ship. Clearly it shows, nor do I fail to mark, how its sails are trimmed and sides made fast, and how her bow does seek the way with painted eye. And the ship, obedient, hears all too well her tiller's governance. And the men on board I see, black in limb, their clothes white linen. All the other ships an allied force I see, but under land the lead, its sail now furling, rows with timed beat. And you must quietly and temperately facing the event, ignore none of these gods, and I with advocates shall come. Perhaps an envoy or a herald comes, desiring to lead you away as reprisals. But nothing shall happen. Never fear him. Still it is better, if we are slow, that refuge to remember. Take heart. Surely in time the day shall come when all who had dishonoured the gods shall pay.
Father, I fear as swift ships come. No length of time does stand between us. Terror holds me, excessive fear, if flights of wandering profit not. Father, I am spent by fear.
As final was the Argive vote, my daughters, take heart, they shall fight for you, I know.
Mad is the race Egyptian, cursed, in war unsated. I speak what you know. Dark ships they have, and strongly built, they sailed and so succeed in anger with an army large and dark.
But here many shall they find whose limbs the sun's made lean in noonday heat.
Leave us not behind alone, Father, I pray. Women are nothing alone, no Ares is in them. Deadly purposed and crafty minds with impure hearts, just as ravens, they heed no altar.
Well, that would aid us, my daughters, if to the gods as to you they are hateful.
They feared not these tridents, no awe of gods. Their hands they shall not keep from me, Father, arrogant with unholy rage, gluttonous, dog-hearted, obeying in nothing the gods.
A fable tells that wolves possess more strength than dogs, and reeds cannot conquer wheat.
We must guard ourselves against the rage of wanton men, monstrous and profane.
The reefing of a sail is never swift, nor is the anchoring with ropes to be secured. And even safe at anchorage the helmsman lacks courage, and mostly when come to harbourless shores, and the sun has sneaked away to night, it breeds in prudent pilots pain as sharp as birth itself, nor would a host find landing easy before each ship takes courage in her moorings. But you, fearful at heart, take heed of the gods, while I, bringing aid, shall return to defend you. An aged messenger the city cannot blame, youthful in eloquence.
O mountainous land, justly respected, what shall befall us? Where shall we flee, if in Apian lands some dark abyss somewhere? Black smoke, might I be bordering clouds of Zeus? Invisible completely as unseen dust might I die. My heart without fright would no longer be. Darkness flutters in my heart. I am seized by his warnings. I am spent by fear, and willing would I be fated to die hanging before that man should touch me. May Hades rule me before. Where might there be a throne of air? Against it wet clouds become snow, or smooth, steep, lonely overhanging, distant vulture-haunted rocks, witnessing my fall before by force meet a heart-rending marriage. Pray then for dogs and native birds, a feast I shall not refuse them. For death grants freedom from lamentable ills, let that fate before my marriage bed come, but where is still means to free us from marriage. Shriek and shout a cry to heaven, perfect prayers to the gods, to me relief and fulfillment, and Father, seeing the battle, behold with just eyes violence unkindly. Respect your suppliants, protector, omnipotent Zeus, proud and heartless Egyptians, men pursuing an exile, intent on capturing me with shouts many and wanton, but you completely, Zeus, hold the beam of the balance. What without you is brought to completion for men, cry. O woe, alas, hear this ravisher from the ship, before that ravisher would you die. I see this beginning of my woes. Alas, O woe, escape, stern-hearted in insolence, hard to bear on land at sea, Lord of the land, protect us.
Hurry! Hasten to the boats fast as you are able, lest torn and pricked and scratched you'll be, bloody and blood-stained, your heads cut off. Hurry, hasten, curses, to the boats!
On the flowing salt path with your masterful pride, with your bolted ship would you had died.
Cease your cries. Leave your seats. Go to the ships. You without honour, you without city, I cannot respect.
Never fruitful water might I see again, whence grows the living root, murder and blooms.
I shall lead. I am brave. Down to the ship, up on the ladder. Willing, unwilling, you shall go.
Oh, alas, woe! Oh, would that you had helpless died by the sea-washed grove, wandering at Sarpedon's tomb, piled up with sand among wet breezes.
Shriek and shout. Call the gods. You shall not jump the Egyptian ship. Bewail and shout and mourn with sorrow.
Oh, alas, woe, outrage, when you howl offshore with your boasts overflow, whom the great Nile might behold raging in your pride and drown your violence.
Board the swift boat at once. Let no one falter. I'll have no awe of precious curls when I shall drag you.
Alas, Father, to the sea he leads me, like a spider, step by step, a dream, a black dream, cry, O woe, cry. Earth, Mother Earth, avert his fearful cry. O Son, Son of Earth, O Zeus.
I do not fear these gods before me. They did not nurse me. Their nursing did not age me.
A 2-footed serpent quivers near like a viper, bites my foot, a poisonous thing. Cry, O woe, cry. Earth, Mother Earth, avert his fearful cry. O Son, Son of Earth, O Zeus.
Your finery I shall not pity if none will go to the ship resignedly.
We perish, Lord, we suffer pain.
O many lords, Aegyptus' sons, you soon will see, take heart and blame no anarchy.
Oh, undone am I.
As you're not hasty to heed my words, it seems I'll have to drag you by the hair.
You there? What is done? By what insolence dare you insult this land of Pelasgian men? Think you have come to a woman's land? You are barbarians, and you trifle insolently with Greeks, and off the mark in everything. In nothing, upright stand.
How did I err? What do I do without justice?
You know not how to be a stranger.
Though finding what I lost?
To what patron did you speak?
To Hermes the Searcher, the greatest patron. The Nile deities I revere. I'll lead them away if no one robs me.
You shall regret it if you touch them.
You speak unkindly to strangers.
The thieves of gods I shall not befriend.
I shall tell Aegyptus' sons.
Ha! What's that to me that I should yield my flock?
But if I knew more clearly, could I tell, a herald should report exactly each particular. What shall I say? Who's he that robs me of these cousins? Yet Ares gives his verdict without witnesses, nor in the grip of silver quits his suit. But first many are thrown and kick off life.
Why must you tell a name? You and your shipmates will know soon enough. Though were these willing with goodwill of heart, you could lead them away if pious speech persuaded them. Thus unanimous the vote decreed, never to surrender them to force. Joined, dowled, and bolted stays this law, that neither scratched on tablets nor book sealed, you hear announced by the tongue of freedom's voice. Now get out of my sight.
We seem to wage new wars. May victory and conquest fall to men.
And men is what you'll find here, who don't guzzle a brew of barley beer. Now all of you, attended by your maids, take heart and go to the well-protected city, locked by towers in dense array. And many homes there are of public property, and I am also housed with a lavish hand. There you may with many others live, or if it pleases more, you may live alone. Of these the best and most agreeable choose. Myself and all the citizens protect you, whose voted will is now fulfilled. Why wait for those with more authority?
In return for good things, may good things teem, best of Pelasgians. Kindly escort my father here, Danaus, prudent, brave, and wise. His is the counsel where to dwell. Kindly dispose the place with good fame and repute among the people. Everyone's quick to blame the alien, may it be for the best.
My children, to Argives it is meet to pour libations, pray and sacrifice as to gods Olympian, who unhesitant preserved us. What had been done for native friends kindly, bitterly against your cousins they heard, and gave these armed attendants as a meed of honour, that no spear-wielded fate be mine in dying, lest I burden on the land an ever-living grief. You must be grateful even more than I for what I have obtained. Above my other counsels cut this wisdom. Time becomes the touchstone of the alien, who bears the brunt of every evil tongue, the easy targe of calumny. I beg you not to bring me shame, you who have that bloom which draws men's eyes. There is no simple guard for fruit most delicate, that beasts and men, both winged and footed, ravage. So Venus heralds harvests lush with love, and all at the sleek comeliness of maidens do shoot enchanted arrows from their eyes, overcome by desire. Let no shame for us, but pleasure for our enemies be done, for which in great toil great seas were ploughed. We have the choice, mere luck, of living either with Pelasgus or at the city's cost. Only regard this command of your father. Honor modesty more than your life.
All else may God's Olympian bless. But father, be not anxious for our summer's blush, for lest the gods deliberate anew, we'll hold to the course our past intent has set. Come now to the city, praising blessed Lord gods, who shelter the city and about the Erasinus dwell. Take up and accompany servants, the song and praise for the city no longer the Nile. Respect with your psalms but streams, that with quiet through the land fullness pour, and gladden this earth with waters brilliant and rich. May Artemis' sacred sea pitying us, by force of Aphrodite no marriage come, a prize for the hated, but careless not of Cyprus this gracious song, with power equal to Hera nearest to Zeus, honoured the goddess' sly intent in rites sacred and solemn, which share with a fond mother desire, and to whom no denial persuasion, and Aphrodite a province to concord bestowed, and Eros whispering wanton, but bitter winds and harsh and evil grief, and battles bloody and deadly I fear before. How did they sail so easily in swift-winged pursuit? Whatever is doomed becomes. Infinite the mind is of Zeus, who cannot be bypassed. To many a woman before has marriage come as an ending. May great Zeus ward off an Egyptian marriage for me, that would be best. Would you charm the intractable? But the future you know not. But Zeus is mind profound. How am I to plumb? Pray for the mean. What limit do you teach me now? Ask the gods nothing excessive. Lord Zeus, may he deprive us of an ill marriage and a bad husband, as Io was released from ill, protected by a healing hand, kind might did cure her, and strength may he assign us. I am content if ill is 1/3 my lot, and justly with my prayers beside the saving arts of God to follow justice.